This week's episode of Chat Chow is brought to you by Cuban Dichos, the highest rated Cuban app on iTunes. Download it now at cubanapp.com. Today on Chat Chow, we'll be speaking with Carlos Rossi, owner of Angelique Euro Café here on Miracle Mile.
We're drinking strawberry fizz. It is done with cava, which is a Spanish sparkling wine, a little rum, and strawberry puree.
Delicious. Let's taste.
Cheers. Sort of part of our brunch menu that we do on Saturdays and Sundays.
Nice, very nice. So I understand that you have an advertising background.
I do. I started many years ago in Procter & Gamble in marketing. I used to run Pampers for the USA. And I had an advertising agency in New York for about 30 years.
Okay, how did you make that transition?
Well, we're brand builders, so we used to build brands for a lot of people all over the world. But this is a brand that responds to the neighborhood needs.
I like that. Now, more importantly, what advice might you give to somebody who might want to make that change? Is in some other career, maybe not advertising, but would want to get into this industry?
I think the best advice is, do you like people and do you like to respond to their needs? It's a very personalized business. The other business I was in was more of a, you provide your answers to somebody else. But in here, you know every day how you do, whether you're doing well or not, because everybody tells you right away.
What might you say is the hardest thing you've had to overcome as an owner in dealing with a customer, a situation, or just in general?
Well, from an owner's perspective, it hasn't been hard at all. We have very loyal customers, and in a year and a half we've been open. From a business perspective, it is harder because the cash flow is harder in this restaurant business. 1 out of 10 restaurants survive maybe the first 6 months, the other 50% go under. A lot of it because of cash flow issues. So that's the hardest part of the business. It's not the business itself.
Okay. What makes Angelique different?
I think it's different because we provide the customers with a neighborhood experience that they can get in Europe, but they don't get around here. Our core is Spanish, Italian, French, and Belgium. And it's sort of an every neighborhood place that we don't think it's around here in South Miami.
So, very interesting. How often does the menu change?
We have changed the menu. We haven't changed the menu without adding something. So we now have neighborhood favorites. We have signature entrees. We've probably been in business a year and a half. We changed the menu maybe 4 times.
Okay, and what are some of those neighborhood favorites?
Neighborhood favorites is something like a pasta carbonara, where we have a poached egg on top with a pancetta, which is Italian bacon, and it's a very light but refreshing. Usually pasta carbonara is very heavy. We have eggs Angelique, which is our version of eggs Benedictine for brunch. We said we have a filet mignon that you don't need a knife to cut it with because it's so soft. So those are some of the neighborhood favorites.
That's great. Now, what makes I'm a huge fan of eggs Benedict. So, what makes your eggs Benedict different?
I think that the reason that it's different is because most of the brunch menus that people are accustomed to are very heavy. You know, you get full up. In the European now tradition, it's something that you enjoy the food and you feel satisfied but not full. So the eggs Angelique have, I'll tell you the secret of the recipes, but our executive chef has a really good sense of the sauce. The sauce will go in and it gives you that little extra taste.
Nice. What would you say is your personal favorite menu item right now?
That's very tough because I go from, no, it's very tough because I go from, since we have, you know, Spanish, Italian, French, and Belgium. The reason I say French and Belgium because some of the dishes that people think are French are Belgium, like the moules and the steak à poivre. That's a Belgium dish, so we're very true about that's authentic. But I would say the pasta puttanesca, which is on the menu because my wife and I like that, which is a real rich, it has a little bit of everything in it, olives and capers and little onions and little things like that. That's one of my favorites. I have pasta con chorizo because the chorizo is from Spanish chorizo, very rich in flavor. And it also goes well with some of my wines and beers, so it's a good idea.
Do you have a big wine and beer selection?
We have a huge wine and beer selection. We probably have 100 wines, of which 80 are by the glass. And we have probably 100 beers. Don't tell my wife because I want to sing 99 beers in the wall, and she doesn't like me to do that.
Oh, no.
So we have a huge beer selection also.
Okay, great. What would you say if you were to die tomorrow, sounds morbid, would be your last meal on earth?
Well, I'm not a big believer in death, so
Okay.
that's not going to happen. But my last meal on earth would probably go back to my roots. My dad was from Corsica, he was French. So when I was young, the first thing I had for dinner was not water, was wine. So I would probably take one of my best glass of wine, a Chateau Margaux, probably have a very nice steak of Provence. That would be my last meal.
Delicious. What age did you have your first glass of wine?
Almost about 3, 2, 3.
Wow.
So I've been drinking since very early.
Yeah. Oh, you got a head start.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on Chat Chow today with us. I want to cheers goodbye.
Thank you for visiting us at Angelique Euro Café.
Thank you.
And that destroys that idea. So long as it's not one of our servers, I'm good.